Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody this afternoon? I know I did one this morning, and sometimes I do that when I really just wanted to talk on one topic. I was still on an hour, but it was about Comex and how it really works, how it's price fixed, how it's a lot like trading places where they're just doing contracts. There's no physical gold or silver even involved in it, except for a little bit of you need to trade like 10 ounces of gold covers 50 ounces, covers 5,000 ounces of gold on the derivative contract. So it's basically the key differences in an option in derivatives. I can sell, you can do it in stocks too, but I can sell and then buy. So if I think something's going down, I can short it or sell it at 100 and then with hopes to buy it at 50. That's basically what's Comex. That's basically shorting a stock. I don't know how that gets wound into physical gold and silver. And like I said, there is no market for it. So let's quickly look at gold right now. All right, so gold really took a shot up. It's up 20 at 23.74. Silver's really moving at 31.29. Oh, what the hell that is. So silver's at 31.29. So as I showed you this morning, this is the sell. They sold at 23.70 and went down to 23.55, went down $15. Then they started to buy the derivative or the options. So they buy it at 23.55, it goes up to 23.63, then it goes back down a little, then it goes all the way up to 22.78 where they sold it. So they bought it, let's say at 23.55. So they sold it at 23.70. It went down to 23.55. Then they bought the derivative back until 23.78, where they sold the derivative back. And then it looks like there's some buying going on at 23.70. Now, this is probably China and Russia, although it's a little late for them. But that's what these little spikes are. So when you see this 9 o'clock drop, that's JP Morgan selling. But then 9:45, that's China buying the derivatives, buying the contracts to get the price up. And then it goes all the way to 23.78. So now we're at 23.74. So what's happening is there's no volatility. It's just derivatives. They're selling and buying the derivative. They're not buying and selling the gold. Like I said, if China bought 2,000 tons of gold today, it's not in there. It is if they buy it, if they have to buy it with the contract, and I'm not sure if that's what they have to do. In other words, so the contract is the contract's the gold, and but it's not physical. It's paper. So you can bet it to sell. So like 2,300 or 2,400, they then do a sell. They go, I'm selling my contract, my options. I'm selling them with the thought being when the price drops to 23.50, I'm going to buy it. I'll buy it 23.50. I've already sold it 2,400. I make $50 a contract. I buy all these contracts because it's all bullshit based on a leverage, which means I can with with 50 ounces of gold, I control 5,000. So they buy all these contracts. They make $50 a contract. That's this game, and this game has nothing to do with physical. Strictly paper. The variables, the what do you call it? I want to say velocity, but I know that's not right. The the spreads are just paper. They're just derivatives. They're not the physical going. So the volatility, that's what I was looking for. So when they say the volatility, silver is really volatile, it's not. It's just they're doing a lot of derivatives, and they're when it gets high, they sell it, and when it gets low, they buy it. So you can see silver is up to 31.28. So somebody put in a big derivative, a big buy derivative, and it's back to 31.28. Now we've seen it get to 32, but then somebody puts in a sell derivative and sells it at 32, and it goes down to 31 and a half. They make 50 cents on all these contracts that they control with their leverage. So is it really shit? I got to write these words down. Is it really God, I hate when I have a word like that. Is it really helter skelter? I'm thinking of that word I just said. Is it really that, or is it really just these people are doing a lot of derivative? They're selling when it's high and then buying it back when it dips and then letting it go up. What the hell does that have to do with physical? Nothing. Nobody's selling physical. Like I said, if I bought 1,000 ounces of silver today, it wouldn't reflect on this. I'm going to pay for it. And the funny part is the coin stores and eBay goes off of this, which is just strictly paper gold. So I fail to see what this has to do with how they price physical gold, but they do. Okay. So 2373 gold, paper gold, derivative gold, not this stuff. So this is what they're going to sell it for. We're going to take advantage because we know it's worth a lot more. Same thing with the 3127. We know it's worth a lot more. Okay, so gold and silver are just derivative option prices. Kind of phony. All right. Big day yesterday in baseball for the professor. Um, so let's look at yesterday's games. Oh, this is, I was wondering why this, okay, so yesterday it was really hot. We start off, we lose Atlanta over 10, 9-0, and Atlanta didn't even score. It was all Boston, which we would have thought. We knew Spencer Schwellenbach was going to be lousy for Atlanta. We thought Pavetta with the 3-4 would give up a few runs. So we lost over 10 in Atlanta. We lose Houston as Ronel Blanco, 5-2 with the 2.78, loses to Miles McCullough, 4-6 with the 5.32. Houston gets 2 runs, St. Louis 4. So we start off losing. Then we hit Colorado over 11. Cincinnati covers it, winning 12-7 by themselves. Then we got the 49ers. They win 9-3. We got Philly, and they win 2-0. The big game, Kansas City under 8.5, gets postponed, of course, so we have no action on it. Pittsburgh under 8. Pittsburgh gets 10, wins 10-6. So this Paul Skynes everybody's talking about gives up 6 runs to the Dodgers, and the Pirates get 10. So that went over. Tampa Bay over 7.5, wins 5-3 is an 8. That's a winner. The Yankees over 8. They win 9-5. They do it by themselves. Again, Chris Paddock 4-3 with the 5.26 ERA. Sorry. Toronto under 8. Garcia 1-5-0 against Kimball with the 2.95. And it's 3-2 Toronto. It does stay under 8. I am cooking. Texas over 8.5 against the Tigers. Tigers had uh, Maeda going, and then he gets hurt, and then this Joey Wentz comes in, who's a pig. So Texas wins 9-1. We got over 8.5. The Cubbies, we go over 9, and it's 7-6. Kolpak against Neris. We got San Diego under 8, and it's 3-2 California. Dylan Cease still struggling for San Diego. I don't know if he gives up 3 runs or how many. I can see 3-2. Seattle against Oakland. I lose. Oakland wins. Estes over Gilbert. And our last one was Bobby Bowe and the New York Mets. We did play them, and the Mets win 9-1. I had the Mets. So another winner. So in our picks, we go 1-0, 0-1, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 5-3, 6-3, 7-3, plus 20 units. Beautiful day. All right, let's get to today, 6-6. I had a friend who was born on 6-6. Haven't talked to him in 20 years, but what the hell? All right. All right, so we're going to take NBA. We're taking Dallas plus 6.5 tonight. We'll play just for 5 units. Game 1, I like the way Dallas plays. I don't think Boston can stop Luca Brasi. And 6.5 is a big number. Yeah, I don't smell what they're cooking there. All right, so let's go to baseball. So I assume the KC Cleveland game is our under from yesterday. We had under 8.5. It's 4-3 in the top of the 8th. Let's check the pitchers. So they played early because it was rained out yesterday. Yeah, Singer was the pitcher. 2.76 ERA. The guy goes 3 2/3, gives up 3 runs and 2 hits, 70 pitches. Wow. And then the other guy, the bullpen, 5.95, 2.19, and 0.00. Now, why doesn't the 2.19 guy pitch 2 innings? And will this 0.00 guy pitch 2 innings? That's long. I don't understand. They can only pitch 1 inning. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And then Cleveland had Tyler Bibby going, 3.73 ERA. I don't know if he was the pitcher yesterday. 2.73, 1.57, and 1.84 in the bullpen, which is strong. They gave up 1 run. So Bibby gave up 3 in 5 innings, 94 pitches. So obviously, this is what we bet yesterday, but you'd have had to rebet it this morning, I guess, because it was postponed. Anyway, let's move on. So now the rest are night games. The Dodgers and Pittsburgh, the Dodgers minus 185 and 9. We got Walker Buehler for the Dodgers, 1-3 with the 4.32. Bailey Falter, 3-2 with the 3.22 for Pittsburgh. A lot of runs with the Aces going yesterday. Buehler, yeah, let's go over on this. Pitt over 9. So we had Pitt under 8, and they put up 20 runs yesterday. So we're going to go over 9, but we're not going to bet it. Buehler 1-3 with the 4.32, and then Bailey Falter for Pitt 3-2 with the 3.22. So I don't know. I think the Dodgers at 185 is a big number. I wouldn't bet them. So I'm going to go over 9, but I'm not going to bet it. Atlanta, Washington. Atlanta minus 158.5. Now, Atlanta, I don't believe, played Washington yesterday. I don't think so. Anyway, yeah, this would be the weekend series. So we have Atlanta minus 158.5. We got Ronaldo Lopez, 3-2 with the 1.73 against Michael Parker, 4-3 with the 3.60. So we'll go Atlanta under. under 8.5. We'll go 5 units because Washington doesn't hit much. Washington hits 230, and Atlanta hits 250. Lopez, I like 1.73 ERA. Parker 3.60. As you see, these 3.60s can easily, especially if they're only going 5 innings, can easily shut you out. So then we look at Washington. We look at Atlanta's. We look at Atlanta's bullpen, and it's 3.34, which isn't, to me, in the twos are good, but you don't have too many in the twos. The worst is Colorado with the 5, but that's probably more apt in Colorado than on the road because of the light air and the small ballpark. Minnesota and the Yankees. The Yankees 145, 8.5. Pablo Lopez 5-5 with a 4.84 against Marcus Stroman, 5-2 with a 2.73. Yankees are minus 145, over under 8.5. Let's see. Stroman with a 2.73, Lopez 44. We're going to go Yankees with the low ERA. We'll make it for 5. The Cubbies and the Reds. Cubbies, we're playing the White Sox, all right? Reds 125, 9.5. How about Assad 4 with a 2.27 against Hunter Green, who I believe sucks. Is that? Yeah. 3-2 with a 3.44. I didn't think he was that good. No, this is not Hunter. Hunter Brown, I think, is the one from Detroit. This guy's from California. Wrong Hunter. Hunter Biden. This guy went 0 runs, 3, 2, 2, 1, 5 against the Cubbies. And now we got him against the Cubbies again. So he's I don't know. He was pretty good until the Cubbies. They're at home. I'm going to go under here. Well, no, I can't because he just gave up 5 runs to the Cubs. Let's take the Cubbies. Go Cubbies. Beat Navy 5 units. Colorado and St. Louis. St. Louis 225-7. They've been hot lately. Colorado got hot. They're on the road, so everything's a little different for them. Cal Quintrell for Colorado, 4-4 with a 3.84 against Sonny Gray, 7-3 with the 3. We're going to go Sonny. Go St. Louis. Cal Quintrell. Do we want to make this an under? Well, it's hard. It's hard because it's 225 St. Louis and it's a 7 over under, so that really fucks you up. And this is which bum am I looking at? Cal Quintrell. Oh, he's from Canada. You know he can't be any good. Unless he's Bobby, or unless he's playing hockey. We gives up 6 runs against Houston the end of April, and then against Pitt. Then he goes shutout, 1 run, 1 run, 2 runs, 2 runs, 4 runs against the Dodgers. This is why you got to look at the average. So he went well, and then 4 runs, so you don't know what to do with it. Yeah, I'm going to go Sonny Gray. Go St. Louis. Beat Army, 5 units. The Sox play the Sox. The Reds against the Whites. Boston 250, 8.5. Tanner Houck 5-5 with a 1.85. Jake Woodford 0-1 with a 6.23. We got to go Boston, and we'll go 5 units. 5-5 with a 1.85. Boston's a big favorite, but this is the perfect matchup. A 1.85 against a 6.23. We got to go 185 every time against it. Arizona and San Diego. Slade Shoshone 1-4 with the 5.59 against Randy Vasquez, 1-3 with the 5.74. San Diego hits 260. There's just don't score. All right, we're gonna go over here, but we're not gonna play it. Arizona over 8.5. Well, maybe we will play it. Yeah, we'll have to play it for 5 minutes. This is crazy. Um, 5.59 against a 5.74. Neither of them I can play, so it goes to the over under. And with these ERAs, you got to go over. So over 8.5. So my plays are Dallas plus 6.5 in the NBA tonight. Baseball, I got Pitt over 9. I don't play. Atlanta under 8.5. I play for all these are 5 units. Atlanta under 8.5. The Yankees, the Cubs, St. Louis, Boston, and then we go Arizona over 8.5 for 5 units. So you can see some days we've got teams. And yesterday I had, Pitt under, Tampa Bay over, the Yankees over, Toronto under, the Cubs under, San Diego under, and they all win. So the Colorado over, I lose the Houston game picking, and then I hit Philly and the Mets just playing the team. So a lot depends on the pitching matchup, which way you go on this. And there is a final. Toronto beat Baltimore 6-5. Yuki Kikuchi, 3-5 with a 3.48, beat. Well, let's see who the starter is. Let's see how we would have picked this. All right, Popovich for Baltimore had a 10.13 ERA, gives up 6 runs in 5 innings. And Yuki Kikuchi had a 3.48 ERA, gives up 1 run in 6 innings. We would have bet Toronto on the game, and Toronto gets you the win 6-5. Baltimore got 2 runs in the 8th and 2 runs in the 9th. Who's the bullpen for Toronto? Bad bullpen. You start with a 3.48 Kikuchi, and then Pearson 4.44, Pop 4.4, and Garcia 2.16. And Pop, why you have him? So Pearson with this 4.44 gets 1 inning out, gets the 7th. The 8th inning, I go to Pop by 4.41 ERA, gives up 2 runs. And then the 9th inning, now I go to my real closer with the 2.16 ERA, and he gives up 2 runs. Gives up a 2-run homer. Oh, they both were 2-run homer. Three homers for Baltimore. They can hit. So they get 11 runs, but we would have had Toronto, but obviously the game's already over. Hey, Greg and John. What happened to baseball? I don't understand. What do you mean what happened to baseball? I just did baseball. I don't understand your question. If you're talking yesterday's, I gave the results. If you're talking today, I just gave you my picks. Pitt over 9, Atlanta under 8.5. The Yanks, the Cubs, St. Louis, and Boston, and Arizona over 8.5. They're all 5 units except for the Pitt game I didn't play. And tonight in the NBA, Dallas plus 6.5. Luca Brasi will put a horse's head in one of the Boston, probably in Jack Tatum's bed. Well, baseball, you've got a lot of bad players. I noticed when I was growing up, everybody played baseball. My dad coached me. I learned the game. I know the game better than the major leaguers. It's crazy. They don't hit a cutoff, man. They don't know how to run the bases. They don't know how to hit. So you had a lot of people playing baseball. Now you have a lot of people playing soccer, not baseball, or what's that other lacrosse? What the fuck? Why aren't they playing baseball? I don't even know if the baseball fields are like they used to have. I see girls softball. So if the boys aren't playing as much baseball, they can't be pros at it because they're not that good. So then you're stuck with weaker players, and then all these foreigners, Venezuela and Cuba and Latin America and Mexico, and now a lot of Japanese guys. They're just not as good. Um, but the players today stink. I mean, um, I hate when they do this. I'm listening in the car and they keep going OPS, which I still have no idea what it is. I think it's how many extra base hits you have versus your hits, your walks, you got hit by the pitch, your errors. Like how many times when you get on base are you hitting extra bases? And they're talking about Javi Baez being like having the lowest in the history of the world. And I'm like, who gives a fuck? What's his batting average? And they actually said it, and it was 182. And I go, that's all you need to look at. The guy's got a 182 batting average. That's it. No, it's not on base percentage. That's on base percentage would be OBP. OPS is how many extra base hits. It's like slugging percentage. How much extra base hits versus how many times you get on base, either with a walk, a hit, or an error, or hit by pitch. Sounds like the dumbest stat in the world. Just stick with batting average. So the guy's hitting 180. So the whole point is we're paying Javi Baez $20 million or something. And he's got the lowest OPS in the history of life. I would just look at his 182 batting average and say, why are you playing a guy who can't hit 200? I mean, keep it simple. The guy's hitting 180. Maybe he shouldn't be out there. And because you're paying him all this money, you feel obligated to play him. And then the argument is, well, only 2 or 3 games out of 500, we should be playing him. We should be playing him because we're paying him. And the answer is no, we shouldn't. If you want to win, you play your best guys and forget what you're paying them. You can't. I have to play him because I'm paying him. Look at Russell Wilson last year. They didn't pay. They cut Russell Wilson with 2 or 3 games left. He wouldn't take a pay cut. They basically cut him. And now the Pittsburgh gets him for nothing because Denver's got to pay his salary to play in another team. That's the amazing part. So they're much happier with Bo Nix, I guarantee it. But, it depends your goal of the thing. See, the Tigers, Illich used to be the owner, the pizza guy, and now his son owns it. And he doesn't want to part with the money. He doesn't want to win. The dad wanted to win. I remember growing up, and there'd be softball, like professional softball, and this was incredible. All these guys that hit home runs and great defense, and the whole thing. And Illich had Little Caesars, and they would win the softball. And I remember he recruited a guy from Florida, and he flew him up, gave him a job to play shortstop, and the guy could hit the hell out of the ball. And that's Illich wanted to win, and his son doesn't. So the son just looks at the TV money, and then he sits there and he goes, well, wait, if I'm paying the guy $20 million, I don't want to pay him, then pay somebody else. So I'll just let him go, and who cares? We don't care if we win. We just want to make money. And this is the problem with a lot of these owners. They're in it as a business to make money, not to win. And that's what screws up the sports, because then they take these guys who suck, and then you're trying to watch the sports and you're going, oh my God, this is so boring. These guys suck because they're cheap. All right, Greg and John. No, it's not on base percentage. Training camp is starting in the NFL. Well, really not till July. Training camp July. The exhibition games start in August, which I don't know if there is exhibition games anymore. But yeah, July. We got one more month for training camp. But that's, I think, the problem with baseball. Like I said, I played Little League when I was 5. I was pretty good at it, but you get all the kids playing it, and some of them are going to be really good and make pros. And, Willie Mays and Hank Aaron and Mantle played when they were kids, and now they're going to play soccer or lacrosse. What the hell is good? Maybe golf. I mean, so the talent, so there's only so much talent. There's only 350 million people. And apparently these guys coming up through the Mexican border aren't really good baseball players. That would be the ironic part of this. If Willie Mays came up from, Roberto Clemente came up from Colombia or wherever he would, Nicaragua, he would they'd find him and he'd be flying direct from Nicaragua, coming up to the Pittsburgh Pirates, Roberto Clemente. So that's really what you have. You have a lot of bad players. You have a lot of people that are trying to make him hit home runs. You have this insane, let's get the pitcher to pitch his arm out and throw his 100 pitches in 5 innings, and then we get to the weaker thing. So the whole psychology is let's foul the ball off a lot, which makes the hitters terrible. They're trying to get foul balls, not hits. And so the whole thing, you just don't know. So that's it. You just sit there and, I don't get it. Just not a lot of good talent. So the talent sucks. They notice how they get away from batting average and home runs and RBIs into this OPS, which is slugging on base. I don't understand the point of it. I don't. The bottom line is the guy's hitting 180 probably shouldn't be batting, not his OPS, which I have no idea what that. All it means is his power. Does he have power? I don't care if he has power. If he's Rod Carew and he can hit 320, I don't give a shit if he's got power. I need 300 hitters. That's what I need to win, not guys that hit 200 that hit 25 home runs and strike out 2,000 times. So that's the problem in baseball. It's the same thing in basketball where they're all shooting 3-point shots, not 2-point shots, and therefore their percentages, they miss most of them, and it's boring watching jump shots. You like seeing slam dunks. You like Kareem with the sky hook and Magic and all that. That's what you miss. Larry Bird, he didn't shoot 3-point shots. He'd get the rebound. Excuse me. So, I mean, that's the problem. You don't have the same talent, and you certainly don't have, you don't have enough. You got too many pitchers. The whole strategy of the game is gone because these guys don't know what they're doing. So they're trying to, okay, you go up and hit 15 foul balls and we'll tire out the pitcher. What a strategy, because my team sucks, and the only way I could win is to make the pitcher throw all his pitches. He'll get tired of watching our foul balls, and we'll get that. And I think that's why the bullpen has so many guys. And, I started thinking about that. That's probably why they limit it to 100 pitches. Like, fine, we'll go 100 pitches. You foul everything off, and then we'll just come in with the bullpen. And they're not trying to get them to foul the pitches off. So anyway, that's my opinion on baseball. It's just not as good. The talent's not there. Probably more guys are playing football and baseball, which are the more popular sports. Nobody's playing lacrosse professionally, and nobody's playing soccer in America. It might be in Germany and England and, a lot of the European countries. But here, I mean, nobody cares about soccer. And, they can televise it all they want. Nobody gives a shit. So I don't know what they're trying to do. Trying to make us, well, we're socialists, so we got to like soccer. That's because that's all they can afford. So anyway, so we would have had it. KC's 4-3 in the ninth. We would have had them under 8 for 10 units, under 8.5 for 10 units yesterday. So this will be interesting. And then we don't start till 6 o'clock. The Pirate game over 9. And then off we go. Atlanta, the Yanks, the Cubs, St. Louis, Boston, Arizona over 8.5. NBA we talked about. Luca Brasi getting 6.5. The way Dallas looks, I don't know that. I don't know if Boston can win any games against them. I'm not impressed with Boston as a 1 seed. I'm more impressed that Dallas. How the hell were they a 5 seed? They killed Minnesota, and they killed Oklahoma City, the 2 best teams. Is Boston that much good? I don't know. I don't know who this Porzingis is. Porzingis. I don't know who he is. And that's it. Once again, gold. Let's look at that. So I did a whole video this morning about COMEX. Please watch it. Basically, what it is, so gold's 23.72 and silver's 31.27. So it's up a lot, but it keeps going in the range. And I explained the range as the bullshit. It's the derivatives. So all the price of gold and silver are done by contracts, by these contracts for options. They're all option contracts. So I got 10 ounces of gold. I wanna sell 10,000 ounces with 10 ounces or 100 ounces. So I'm going to leverage it, and I'm going to sell it. So I want the price to go down at 23, let's say 2,400, and then the price drops because you just put in all these options, but you don't have 10,000 ounces of gold. You got 100 ounces of gold, and the leverage is what kills it. So the price drops. And then they're selling first, and then they're buying. So in an option, you sell if you think the price is going to go down, and then you buy it. So instead of buying and then it goes up and you sell it, you're selling. You hope the price goes down and you buy it. That when the price drops, you then do another option where you buy the option, and that's called a call. The puts are down, put downs. So the call. Then you've watched it go down to $50 to $23.50. Now you do a call up, and then you buy it, and you want the price to go up, and it goes up to 2,400, and then you sell it. Now the wild joker card is China, Russia, India, and Saudi Arabia. They jump in and say, "Hey, no, we don't. We want to buy too." So they start buying, or having JP Morgan buy, or somebody, and all of a sudden the price goes to 2,500, and the guys playing the derivative game without real gold or very little get screwed because they are selling it at 2,400 with the thought of buying it at 2,350. But when all the other players jump in, the price doesn't go down to 2,350. It goes up to 2,500, and now they're fucked because they sold it at 2,400. They can't buy it at 25. That's what Duke and Duke did. So they have to do an Eddie Murphy. They have to buy it low. So I refer to that, where Trading Places, Eddie Murphy sold at 142 and bought at 24. That's why they made so much money. And the Dukes bought it 102 all the way up to 140, and then they sold it at 24. So they bought it high and sold low, and Eddie Murphy sold high and bought low. So it's confusing because you're used to you buy Coca-Cola at 40 and it goes up to 60, and then you sell it. So in these derivatives, they're tricky little devils. You can bet them down at 60 and then buy them at 40 when they go down. So if you think something's going down, you do the option of selling it in that, but they fix the options so they don't stay in the money and you lose, and then a week later they tank. So it's all being manipulated. Don't be made off. All right, so that's NBA. That's baseball. Yesterday, huge day. My Kansas City game gets rained out. Now we're in the bottom of the ninth. Let's follow this bottom of the ninth. Andres Gomez grounded out, so I assume there's 185 feet. What do you mean? He grounded out to left field? What do you 185 feet? All right, what do we got here? There's 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, 4-3. We are under 8.5. We got no balls, no strikes, 2 outs. My phone's not rotating. We got Ramirez going against MacArthur. Let's see who these people are. MacArthur, 5 ERA. So you had a 0 ERA for 1 inning, and then you had a 2.19 ERA for 1 inning, a 2.77 ERA for 1 inning. You started with the 2.76 ERA, only pitched 3 2/3, and now you got MacArthur with a 5 ERA. Why is he closing? This is freaking ridiculous. Singer pitched 70 pitches. Will Smith 19, Zerpa 19, Long 17, Schreiber 5, McCarthy Schreiber. So Long with the 0 ERA, Long pitches 17 pitches. Schreiber, the other 2.77 guy, goes 10 pitches. Oh no, we can't. No, he might get tired. 10 pitches is all he can go. So instead of pitching the 9th inning, let's see what happens. Bottom of the 9, Jose Ramirez batting versus James MacArthur. 2 balls, 1 strike, and foul ball. Okay, fouled it off. So it's 2-2 with 2 outs. Bottom of the 9th. We get him out. KC wins 4-3, and we win the under 8.5. And that's it. End of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. So the guy's out. Game 4-3. Another W for the professor. KC under 8.5 was the 10-unit play yesterday. Got rained out. Same pitchers, same play. I mean, you got to assume that if it's rain out and the same pitchers, we're doing the same play because it's based on the pitchers. So we start off very good. KC under 8.5. All right. Let's go. Let's keep it sports oriented. So let's go to college football. Week 1. Real quick. So I go interview my job. Hey, Real D. Thank you, Real D. So listen to this. So I go to my 3 interviews: vice president, CFO, and the hiring manager. And I have it on Monday afternoon, as I tell you, and I'm waiting. Did I get it? Did we get the offer? I want to go buy gold. I want to go shopping. I can give the girls some more money to take care of. And, Jenna wants a bike. Daria, I don't know what she wants. And he says, well, they've got 2 more people to interview. What? 2 more people to interview. So I don't know what that means. But he makes a comment, my recruiters, who doesn't work for the company, he's independent. He finds people. He gets commission on me. So it's in his best interest I get the job for as much money as I can get, and he gets his percentage finder's fee. So he says, but I'm the only one who's met with the CFO. So the other 2 guys haven't met. Now, I met last week with him while the guy was in Italy, my boss, for 3 weeks. So why did I meet with them, but the other 2 haven't? So, and then I assume HR says we've set up these. He was, again, in Italy for 3 weeks. So I was Monday afternoon, and then these are either today or tomorrow. I asked the recruiter, did we get feedback? And he said, no, we didn't get any feedback because the VP liked me. He said, we like Howard. So that's good. The VP likes me. The CFO liked me enough for me to meet with him, but nobody else has met with the CFO. So I know they like me, and I'm just a little bit shocked by this. Where's the why are they meeting? Why are they interviewing 2 more people? I look at it like, look, you meet Daria. Why would you date anybody else? You found your girl. And that's kind of how I feel. Like, well, you have me, just hire me. Why do you got to interview with these 2 other people? I mean, unless you're unsure of me. If you're sure of me, what are you dicking around for? So that's what I don't know what's happening. All I can say is um, maybe they set it up while the guy was on vacation in Italy, and they have to interview these two people, and then hopefully I'll know. I told the guy, my recruiter, well, Chris liked me, so if I don't get this position, we'll talk to Chris about the other position. But if Chris liked me and the CFO liked this, he's the VP. I can't give it. Oh, this is probably the guy here. Excuse me while I whip this out. Do you know when the other interviews are? Thank you. And he says no. So we don't know when the interviews are to when we're going to, so I'm just waiting to get hired. Like I said, so I can go and buy gold so I can go and buy gold and go shopping and relax. Now I got a job, right? So still got to sweat. He doesn't know when the interviews are, just that there are two more. Okay, fine. That's all. They're not with his company. All right. So let's go through college football. This will be interesting. So last week I did it with just top 25. Here I'm doing everybody as I should have. All right, first game, Bobby Bowe. We should hear from Bobby Bowe soon. This is 8:24. Florida State versus Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has a good coach, provided he's still there. The quarterback's okay. Remember the Miami game. Florida State lost Travis. They've got Uglia Buglia as their quarterback. They're in big trouble. Defense, they were studs. I assume there's still a good, strong defense. Georgia Tech, strong offensive team. Oh, I have a line. Florida State's 13.5 over Georgia Tech. I'm tempted to take Tech in the 19.5. The game, I believe, is at Georgia Tech, unless it's at unless it's one of these bowl game type of things. It's funny how these bowl games they all play, but at the end of the year, everybody sits out. It's so stupid. So Florida State, they won't go 13-1 with Uglia Buglia. Let's see who their quarterback is. So I got to get my magazine. I think I'll get it this weekend. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is a good team, improving. As long as the coach is there, the quarterback's there, I think they'll give Florida State a game. They played good against Miami, good against Clemson. SMU and Nevada. This is also 8:24. SMU, very good quarterback. Love the quarterback. Is he still there? The other one went to Wisconsin, did shit. So I don't know. I'd be leaving SMU for Wisconsin, like their quarterback did last year. Nevada, 2-10. They suck. SMU's 21.5-point favorites. Go over. If the over's anywhere close, we're going over. I hate when that happens. I go here because that's where I see it on my thing, and it's there. All right. So I like this game over if it's in the 60s. Delaware State, Hawaii, we don't care. Although I do like the Delaware State logo. It's what is it, a bumblebee or something? That's a nice logo. I need a Delaware State helmet. I can see this logo. Montana State against New Mexico State. We don't care. It's a high school team. Western Carolina, North Carolina State. We don't care. Western Carolina is a high school team. I'll skip that. Oh, Kansas has Lindenwood. Lay the 60. Kansas will run it up. Eastern Illinois. Okay, finally a game. North Carolina, Minnesota. Minnesota really blew. North Carolina with their great quarterback won they were 8-5. I wonder who their bullshit quarterback is this year that everybody wants to draft. Minnesota was pathetic last year. 6-7, 8-5 North Carolina. Minnesota's 1.5-point favorite at home. Boy, I don't know. Yeah, because you got the North Carolina with a new quarterback. You have no idea what you got. Minnesota had a new quarterback last year, and they sucked. Minnesota should have a pretty good defense. North Carolina has no defense. Pretty good offense usually with a new quarterback. So I don't know. We'll have to get back to you on. Fordham Bowling Green. Hell of a game there. Central Connecticut State plays Central Michigan. At least they're both Central. They're the another Blue Devils. So you got Duke and Central Connecticut State's the Blue Devils. Duquesne and Toledo, Southern Utah. Let's watch Cam Rising in that game. We can't bet the game, but we're going to watch Cam Rising. 32 out of 33, 5 touchdowns. Our boy's back, so we'll keep an eye on that. Got a bunch of junk games. Elkhorn State against UAB. Why do they waste their time with this bullshit Division II? Buffalo gets Lafayette. Isn't that like Ivy League or something? Colorado's going to have a hard time with North Dakota State. I think Trey Lance went back. He had 3 more years of eligibility. So look for Colorado to lose that game. North Dakota State's the team that always wins Division II. Although last year they sucked. They were 11-4. Dear God, where are the regular games? Here we go. Temple, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 40-point favorite over Temple. Temple sucked last year. Oklahoma had Gabriel has moved to Oregon, their quarterback, who's the new quarterback. I'm sure they got somebody. Temple doesn't have anybody. 40 points. The only way this gets to 40 is if Oklahoma shuts them out and just puts up the points. So look for we got to see the quarterbacks, but I think Oklahoma kills them pretty much. We got to see how bad Temple is. 3-9 last year. Just a second, what's Jenna blabbing about? I thought I gave Jenna a picture. So here's the Ukrainian side of what's happening today. No light. I have no power bank. 10% phone. Fucking war with country. Now she's got lights on. So that every day the lights go off 2 to 3 times. Welcome to the Ukraine. All right. So I think Oklahoma should kill them, but we need to see their quarterback. TCU Stanford, pretty good game. TCU's a 9.5-point favorite. The game's at Stanford. We are now on 8:30, so we have like 4 games at 8. So let's do this by date. 8:24, Florida State, Georgia Tech, SMU, Nevada, and then a bunch of high school. Then 8:29 and then North Carolina, Minnesota, and then 8:30 is Temple, Oklahoma. Okay, TCU, Stanford. TCU's -9.5. Good coach team. I think the coach is still there, Goldsmith. Stanford sucked. TCU goes to the national title and goes 5-7 because all their players get drafted, except for their quarterback didn't get drafted. The other one, who was supposed to be pretty good, he didn't play very well. Their defense sucked. So TCU -9.5. TCU is probably the better team. I'll have to read up on them yet. I can't make that decision. 8:31 Saturday. Game of the year. Clemson 9-4 against my Georgia team, 13-1. Georgia's laying 13.5, and the only question we care about is what's the fucking over/under. Love the under in this game. Clemson has no quarterback, good defense. Perennially, Georgia, we know they're monster defense. And Kirby Smart's really like Belichick. He's the defensive coordinator, sort of like Nick Saban. It didn't matter who the defensive coordinator was, Nick Saban. And here you got Kirby Smart, who was the Alabama defensive coordinator, coaching an Alabama defense. So that's what you have. Let's go in and see if we get the total on the game. No totals. 13.5 is it. See, I love, like, then they put what they did last year, but this is all meaningless because that was last year. So I don't have a total. This is from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is in Atlanta. So it's a Georgia home game in the stadium. You got to love the under here. Georgia Lane 13. They don't have Brock Bowers. Hard to say, but let's see what if the over under is anywhere near 50, it's a lock. We're going under 56. That I can guarantee. Georgia State, Georgia Tech. Georgia's got their quarterback back, ton of running backs and receivers. Great defense. Clemson should have a good defense. I don't know who their quarterback is. Klubnik sucked. They lost their running back. He got drafted. And then the receivers, I don't know who they've never had good receivers. Probably a pretty good defense. Georgia State, Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech played Florida State on the 24th. A week later, they got Georgia State. Georgia State's not a bad team. Georgia Tech, as we know, is a good team. This should be a high-scoring game here. I don't have a line. UConn and Maryland. Maryland sucked with Tagliavua brother, and now who's the quarterback? UConn normally sucks. Suck versus suck. I don't know. It's at Maryland. Maryland probably will win. We'll have to see. Richmond. See, now there's another classy logo, the Richmond Spider. Tell me that's not adorable. I got to get that helmet just to get that spider helmet. But that's Division 2. Here we go. Kent State, Pitt. This is 8:31. Pitt, I don't know who's their quarterback. Kent State, MAC team. What we don't know is how is this affecting the ball, all this NIL money. So if you're a good player on Kent State, you took money to go to Ohio State or Pitt or North Carolina, which leaves Kent State with no talent. That's why the MAC sucked last year. And I don't know where these schools are getting the money to pay these guys. And again, the NFL will get really pissed because you're taking and paying for my players and you're not a professional league. So this will be very curious. But Kent was 1-11. They were a Z team. Pitt wasn't much better at 3-9. So all we can say is we have to check quarterbacks and we got to check defense. Howard against Rutgers. Albion, the Bison. So Howard needs to play Buffalo, and we'll let the Bulls play the Bison. Ohio, Syracuse. Ohio, now they were the cream of the MAC, 10-3. Syracuse 6-7. They never seem to get it going the way they should. I think Ohio's a very live dog here, but I don't have a line. Still on 8:31. Penn State, West Virginia. Penn State's a 10-point favorite. This is a revenge game from last year when Penn State beat them pretty well. This game's in West Virginia. This is a big rivalry game. Penn State 10-3. West Virginia. So I like West Virginia getting 16 here. North Dakota, Iowa State. Tennessee, Martin, Kansas State. Kansas State's quarterback transferred to Ohio State, Will Howard. Now, they tend to get good quarterbacks, Kent State, so we will see, or Kansas State. So they're a very good team, good defense usually, good running attack. So we will see. UTEP and Nebraska, 8:31. The UTEP 3-9, Nebraska 5-7. Nebraska's terrible. The coach quit. They got the new coach. He didn't do anything. We'll just have to see who the quarterback is. Probably Nebraska at home if it's not too many. If we can get it under 7. But Nebraska's by no means big Nebraska of the 70s. And when I was working at the grocery store I was 16 years old, and and of course I'm doing my football like I do now. And the whole store would come up to me for picks because they knew I was making the money. And so I had a friend, and it's the time that Nebraska was turning the girl. And again, this is in the 70s, and they were scoring a ton of points. They scored 50 points a game. So my friend worked in produce, and what's the game? I go, take Nebraska. He goes, big Nebraska, and he'd bet like a couple hundred on it, and they'd win by 50 points every week. So he loved it. Big Nebraska, and then until you get to Oklahoma, then it's not big Nebraska anymore, but against the rest of the team, which is really what you think about when they play these weak defenses, they blow them out. But when they get in against Oklahoma and the tough defense, you take the tough defense. It always beats a good offense. Florida International against Indy. Florida State 4-8. Indy 3-9. They're missing Penix. Tough one here. We'd have to see what the points are and the quarterbacks. Iowa, Illinois State, Division II. Iowa will be lucky to score 10 points in the game like last year. Florida Atlantic and Michigan State. We're still on we're kind of on week 1B, I guess. 2 games at 8:24, and then the rest 8:31. Florida Atlantic 4-8. Michigan State sucked at 4-8. The coach got fired for chatting with young girls or something like that. Michigan State's new coach is from Oregon State. We will see. What's funny is you listen to the radio and they're making like, well, we got to give the new GM of the Tigers, time to get his players in. And we need the new GM of the Red Wings, Yzerman, to get going. And we need the new GM of the Pistons time. You think this guy's got 2 years at Michigan State? No. He comes in, he better beat Florida Atlantic by 30. He's got to come right in with his system and his players and win. But not in basketball. No. They got to, see, my point is you got billionaire owners, you got guys that can't play. Just let them go. Void their contract. Quit making these contracts 5 years and you can't void them. The contract's void if you can't score 10 points a game. No questions asked. Then you're motivated. But if you're not going to give them motivation like competition, then you know what? You're going to void your own contract. Like Javi Baez, they were talking about with his 400 OPS and his 182 batting average. And I would have said, look, if you can't hit 250 your contract's void. Now, even though you're signing him to a lot of money, there has to be incentives in the clause. You've got to hit 250 or it's void. And if he doesn't sign it, say, see you later. We don't need somebody who can't hit 250. If you can't hit 250, I'm not paying you 20 million a year. And that's the bottom line. So Michigan State at home, Florida Atlantic. I got to look at the quarterbacks. But the cupboard's bare at Michigan State for sure. Miami of Ohio and Northwestern. Miami of Ohio, very good team, 11-3 last year. Northwestern 8-5. I think Miami of Ohio will give them all they want here. This should be a good game, provided they have a bulk of their team back, but well coached. Ohio State against Akron. Ohio State's 11-2 with a new quarterback, Will Howard, a new offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly from UCLA, from Oregon, from the Philadelphia Eagles. And they have all the talent they need. Akron 2-10. They're a Z team. If Ohio State will be favored by 50 here. And if they're not, if they're in the 30s, it's a lot because they're pissed off. They lost to Michigan now. What is it, 3 years in a row? For sure, 2 years, but I think it's 3. They can't afford any more losses, especially to Michigan. But here's Akron. They're not going to lose to Akron, and that's a look for them to just crush Akron. Let's see. Indiana State, Purdue, we don't care. Western against Western Michigan, Wisconsin. Still 8-31. Western 4-8 last year. Wisconsin 7-6. Usually a good defensive team that wants to run. They brought in Van Dyke from Miami of Florida. Let's see if he can do what the SMU quarterback couldn't do last year. So look for Wisconsin to play better with Van Dyke, but we will see. And still on 8:31, New Mexico against Arizona. Arizona had a great team. The coach went to Oregon State to take over there. I don't know where the quarterback is. He's either still at Arizona or went to Oregon State. If he went to Oregon State, we'll be betting Oregon State a lot. But Arizona is not the same team if you lose your coach and your quarterback. They were a very good team, good defense, but that's last year. And they played prime 28 all when they weren't that good yet. So they did kill Caleb 28 all. Arizona State, Wyoming. Arizona State's terrible, 3-9. Wyoming 9-4. Look for a competitive game here from Wyoming, although they're much better at home, but they got to go to the desert. Oregon 12-2 against Idaho, still 8:31. Look for Oregon to roll with Gabriel. I'm just curious what Idaho, but I think Idaho's Division 2. I don't think they moved up yet. Thought they might have. Southern Miss and Kentucky. Southern Miss was 3-9. They suck. Kentucky 7-6. But this is a game Kentucky needs because they get to play Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida, and who knows from the other side. So look for Kentucky to grab the win any way they can. Old D in South Carolina. Oh, Spencer Rattler's not there. Oh, it'll drop dramatically. Yeah, they'll probably score more points a game now. Old D 6-7. South Carolina at home should handle it, but not too much. VTech and Vanderbilt. VTech 7-6. Vandy sucked at 2-10. We don't have a line yet. All right, for 2 points, what's the Furman? What is Furman's nickname? Nobody in the world would get this unless you went to Furman. The Paladins. I don't even know what a paladin is. It looks like, what is it, a star? The Paladins. Good luck there, folks. Tarkenton State and Baylor. Here we go. Vegas against you. Both were high scoring teams last year. Vegas was 9-5. It's funny. Vegas was 0-13 and 1-14. All of a sudden they get a quarterback. They change. They get a defense. They go 9-5. Houston 4-8. We got to check quarterbacks. Abilene, Texas, and Texas Tech. You gotta love Abilene Christian. What the Wildcats? Doesn't get any better. What an original nickname, the Wildcats. Merrimack and Air Force. Again, you're just watching box scores there. Southern Illinois, BYU, and here we go. UCLA, Hawaii. Look for UCLA to pound them. Although they lost their quarterback, their coach. I don't know. You lose Chip Kelly. I don't know who their coach is. Some running back that they used to have that's never coached before. So I don't know. It should be a high scoring one. Hawaii should have the high scorings down now. All right. And Bucknell against my Navy team. Boise against Georgia Southern. Here you go. 8:31. This should be a really good game. Georgia Southern's good at home, good team. Boise's not what they used to be without Kellen Moore and all their coaches. So I think Georgia Southern's a live dog in this game, but I don't have a line. Really, this is just to get familiar with week 1A and 1B. UMass and Eastern. Eastern was 6-7 last year. UMass 3-9. They suck. Of the 3 wins, 1 was against our New Mexico State team. How could I lock that game and lose? And then they go on and win 10 games. New Mexico State. I couldn't believe it. Nevada and Troy. Very good game. I got Troy. Troy was 11-3. Actually, Nevada sucks. 2-10. Go Troy. Beat Army. North Texas, South Alabama. That's a real game. 5-7 North Texas. They're pretty good offense. South Alabama 7-6. An A team actually, or at least a B team, should be a good game. No lines. Tennessee State against my Roadrunners. UTSA. Go TUSA. Go UTSA. Beat Kanawha State. James Madison and Charlotte. These are both Division I, if you can believe it. James Madison played pretty good, 11-2. Charlotte sucked at 3-9. I don't know. James Madison maybe, but we got to see the line. And we're still on 8:31. We got Miami against Florida. Look at this game. Where the hell did they find this game? Miami is a 3.5-point favorite at Florida or wherever the hell this. Let's see if they give us the location. Oh, it's at Florida. Ben Griffith Stadium. Go figure. Wow, I can't believe Miami's a 3.5-point favorite. I love Florida here. First of all, Miami's coach has his head up his ass. He doesn't know to take a knee and run the clock out. He lost the best quarterback in Van Dyke, or one of the best. Florida, I mean, they got talent. Look, Florida's an extremely live dog here. I don't think Miami's all that good. Colorado State, Texas. Texas 12-2 in the Bowls playoffs. Colorado State 5-7. I think Texas kills them. We got to be careful. We want to spread about 20, no more. Sam Houston against Rice. What do you? Is there a guy, Sam Houston? The Bear. Okay, the Bearcats. Bearkats. The Bearcats, not Cats. Oh my God! Against Rice. Rice was pretty good last year. McDaniel, their quarterback, used to be highly prized at USC. Went to Georgia, got beat out by Stenson Benson. Now he's at Rice, and I don't even know if he's playing. I think he retired. I think he got injured too much. There you go. Oregon State. They get Idaho State. We're looking at box score. Do you have the Arizona quarterback, and how many touchdowns did he throw? Western Kentucky, Alabama. Very good game. This is the 7 o'clock game on the 31st. Alabama, no Nick Saban for the first time in 1,000 years. They got the Washington coach, excellent coach. Don't know who the quarterback is. Penix retired. He's in the pros. Didn't retire, but he's in the pros. Milrose, and then they were supposed to have gotten a good quarterback. So this will be very interesting. Against Western Kentucky, always puts up points. So this is probably an over game. Fresno State, Michigan. Well, well, well. Look at Michigan's actually playing a real college team. Fresno State 9-4. Now they had Jake Hayner. He's on the Saints. Last year they had Mikey Keene from UCF. So we'll see who their quarterback is. Look for them to look for this to be a good game. Michigan lost. Well, their quarterback sucked anyway. They lost Harbaugh and the defensive coordinator, and I believe the running back. So we'll see what they have. Notre Dame against A&M, 8:31. And then there's a 9-1 and a 9-2. So Notre Dame, A&M's a 1-point favorite. Had a weak year last year. I think they changed coaches. Notre Dame's coach terrible. You had Sam Hartman, and you lost the way you did. You didn't use him. Guy didn't even get drafted because of you. So I like A&M in this game. Bobby Bowe, LSU again on 9-1. LSU against USC. Let's see, where is this game at? LSU's favored by 6.5. Oh, it's at Allegiant Stadium in North Carolina. The fuck's it doing there? I think that, or no, it might be Houston. Yeah. Allegiant Stadium is in Houston. So LSU, who's nearer to Houston than USC, but it's not a USC home game. So LSU's 6.5 on a neutral field. Now they lost Daniels, but I love their coach, Brian Kelly. USC, love the coach, but all he can do is coach offense. He scores a lot of points. The backup lit him up for 6 touchdowns in the bowl game. I look for a huge over here. USC ain't getting any better defensively. So you got to come to the terms. USC is going to play games in the 80s, and this game will be no exception. LSU won't be able to handle this quarterback. USC certainly is not going to be able to play defense on whoever LSU's quarterback is. If this over-under is in the 60s, we're loading up on the over here. Good game, though, but LSU wins and very high scoring. In our last game, we got Florida State again. They played 8-24. Here we go, 9-2, Boston College, 7-6. A conference game, I believe. Florida State, 13-1. Florida State's a 21-point favorite. They got Uglia Buglia. We've got to see how strong their defense is before we can make a move on Florida State. We know Uglia Buglia sucks. Let's see who they put in at quarterback. BC, pretty good. Got better near the end. So right now, I don't know. We get to watch Florida State week 1 against Georgia Tech, and here BC. I think we also get to watch week 1. So I don't know. I know Florida State's quarterback sucks, but I don't know much about BC. And that's your look at week 1A and 1. Well, really 1. 1A is just 2 games of college football week 1. So exciting. Come on, what's going on? Seattle 2, Oakland 0, bottom of the 4th. And let's see. So we got Toronto 1, 6-5. Yuki Kabuki against some hacker. And KC 4-3. The big bet was under 8.5, and it was 7. So there you go. The method of 2 strong pitchers in the game. Let's see what's going on. We've got the Dodgers and Pitt. Dodgers minus 175, 9. The 9 hasn't changed. We went over 9 here. Bueller 1-3 with the 4-3-2 against Bailey. Falter 3-2 with the 3-2-2. Um, I would say if you're playing, let's see, can we play Pittsburgh? Is Bailey Falter from California any good? Excuse me, a little tired. Um, so Bailey Falter on the Steelers. A 6-hit shutout against Toronto. 7 inning. It was a 6 inning shutout against Toronto. A 7 inning 3-runner against Atlanta. A 7 inning shutout against the Cubbies. A 6 inning 2-runner against the Cubbies. Colorado. 5 inning 3-runner. Oakland 5 innings for 5 runs. Milwaukee 7 for 1. So you can see it's who they play. And Miami 4 innings and gives up 6 runs. So his ERA has a 6 in there and a 5. But do you throw him out? Hard to say. So if you take those two out, Bailey's probably got somewhere in the 2s. So I think Pittsburgh could be a very live play in the game. I'm sticking with my over 9. I think they'll be able to score, but we'll see. You never know how the game's going to go. Atlanta, Washington. Lopez against Parker. Atlanta, Lopez 3-2 with a 173. Parker 4-3 with the 360. And we went Atlanta under and a half because Parker with a 360. Lopez, but we got 173. We got 2 strong pitchers. No hitting. Minnesota and the Yankees. We took the Yankees. Lopez 5-5 with a 4.84 against Marcus Stroman. 5-2 with the 2.73. Love the Yankees here. The Cubbies in Cincinnati. We got the Cubs 5 units. We've got Javier Assad for the Cubbies 4-1 with the 2.27. Hunter Green 3-2 with the 3.44. He'll be so anxious with his name that he'll let everything slip. So go Cubbies. Cubbies, just the Cubbies. Colorado, St. Louis. We got St. Louis. We've got Cal Quantrill, the Canadians, 4-4 with the 3.84. Sonny Gray. Gotta love Sonny Gray. He should do well in this game. St. Louis has been playing well lately. Over under a 7. I didn't want to fuck with that with these 2 pitchers, so I just stuck with St. Louis. Boston Red Sox against Chicago White Sox. So Sox against Sox. Tanner Houck 5-5 with a 1.85 against Jake Woodford. 0-1 with the 6.23. I'm going to have to go with Houck with the 5-5 with the 185. Woodford is 6-1 with the 6.23. So we are taking Boston there. Sorry, I'm just tired. Arizona, San Diego. Slade Sasanki 1-4 with the 5.59. Randy Vasquez 1-3 with the 5.74. Are obviously going over. Arizona over 8.5. 5. So these are Atlanta, the Yanks, the Cubs, St. Louis, Boston, Arizona over 8. Atlanta was under 8, 5 units. And that's it for baseball. 2-0 Seattle over Oakland in the 4th. And tonight's the first night of Christmas. We got Boston 6.5-point favorites over Dallas in the NBA, of course. We're taking Dallas in the 6.5. I think they'll win. They're the better team. They can't have an answer for Luca Brasi. So we're taking Luca. Big Luca going to take out a horse's head tonight. And off they go. All right. So that's your baseball. That's your basketball. That's your gold. That's your Comex. That's your inflation. We didn't talk inflation. Inflation is printing this. Now we've talked. The more you print, the less value. And it costs more dollars to buy the Coca-Cola than you did before. That's all it is. All right. Anything in If I get a checking account at Chase, they'll give me $300. That makes sense. Um, so I think I put gambling in the title. I think. Well, I was watching the movies. What was I watching? Um, I was watching the Die Hard 3 where they steal the gold. And it's just so clever where they plant a bomb and all the police go to the schools and then they go to Wall Street and they take all the gold. And you're thinking, well, that would have been a lot simpler than doing 9/11 where they blew up a building to get the gold. I think it would have been far easier just to do what they did and have Hans Gruber come and start throwing some bombs around and everybody runs to the schools. And then he goes and steals the gold. Would have been much better than bonds. I'm sorry, Hans. Why are you stealing bonds when you should have stole gold? A little disappointing there. The professor steals gold. Jeremy Irons steals gold. That's the thing to steal, not bonds. You know the dollar's worthless. Come on, come on. Whatchamacallit? Come on, Hans. Steal the gold, not the money. And then you don't need to earn 20%. The gold will be worth a fortune. Um, let's see. They took the gambler off. I hate when they just do it. They don't give you a warning. So at the end of the month, if there's movies I like, I watch. I make sure I watch them. And then when the first comes, I'm like, did I lose? Thought I lost. Trading Places, The Gambler, and one other movie. Anyway, so that is what's going on today. As I said, in the morning, I did an hour on COMEX, which is basically contracts. Really has nothing to do with physical gold. It's not buying and selling a physical gold like I would do this on eBay. If I sell this on eBay, whatever somebody pays is what the market is. It's what the card's worth. The card's worth what somebody pays. But when you get the gold, we're not going to go with that rule. We're going to do a bunch of contracts and derivatives to figure out the price of this. So that's why it's worth so much more than we think. It's not even close. It's not. It's nowhere near 2,300 for gold. That's just fantasy derivatives where when it gets too high they sell it, and when it gets too low they buy it. Well, yeah, that must be the real price of gold if you're doing that. There is a conference in St. Pete. I should send Daria to it. For BRICS this week, so we'll see what it says. I'm sure it's about the gold-backed currency and everything else, and I'm sure that's what this war is. The U.S. against Russia is the gold-backed currency. I'm sure that's a big part of it. The U.S. knows they know they're dead when the gold-backed currency comes out, and once that happens, they're in big trouble. So that's where they're at right now. Zimbabwe is the only one smart enough to go on a gold-backed currency, but they don't have a lot of gold. They have 2.5 tons. So we will see how that works out. And BRICS will be gold-backed. So that, again, once we get rid of the sorry, just tired. Once we get rid of the derivatives and the paper bullshit and we get to physical, then we'll get real gold prices. So hopefully they do that in St. Petersburg. Otherwise, so I'm just really waiting for them to make a decision on the job. In the meantime, I applied again at Harley for the same job I had there last year. And it'll be the same 4 or 5 months. And it's fine. They already know me there. I shouldn't have any problem getting it. I shouldn't have to jump through hoops, but we will see. Again, I interviewed well last year to get the job. I performed well at it, so I would imagine I was able to be applied, so I would imagine everything's fine. Anyway, I'd prefer this job, but we will see. There's nothing I can do. Again, I got to be stoic. I had a great interview with the CFO and a great interview with the manager, and supposedly my recruiter said the other two guys have not interviewed with the CFO, only me, which is a very good sign because if I'm interviewing with the CFO, uh, he could. I mean, the guy was out of the country in Italy for 3 weeks, so I could have just as easily. He could have interviewed the other two guys. So I don't know where that's coming from. If HR is saying, "Well, there was three guys, but you were out of the country, so they're going to interview." Maybe it's a contract thing. Maybe they have to see so many guys. I don't know. But I thought I had it all locked up, so we'll know. We'll know next week, I guess. I told the girls we'll know. I thought we would know Thursday. I thought it was a slam dunk. We're going to know, but I couldn't. I couldn't get it. All right, so that's that. Gold gambling. We know we went over football, baseball, and basketball. Poker. It's all who you're playing. You can't really read a player, and if you're a really good player, you're being read, so you're going to give reverse signals. So when I'm sitting playing poker, and I know, let's say I'm playing with the pros, if I can find any, and I know they're going to read me. So what am I going to give them? I'm not going to give them a real read. I'm going to give them a fake read. If I have a good hand, I'm going to get nervous. And if I have a good hand, I'm not going to say anything. They'll think I'm bluffing. And if I'm bluffing, I'm going to show the same emotion bluffing as I do regular. Because I don't want you to know when I'm doing either. And I only show when I got it. So again, if I got aces, I'm protecting my hand. If I hit, a full house or flop a set, then it's a whole different ball game. Then I'm slow playing it a little more. But aces are no good, especially if there's more than two people. If there's more than two people in the pot and the flop's it, your aces are fucked. You have no chance of winning unless you hit the third ace. Because even if a pair of nines comes up, he might have three nines. I'm dead. You certainly can't bet it. So that's why you got to be a little aggressive with the aces, play them a little stronger to get the crap out. And then you're dealing with maybe one or two guys. And now the odds on winning against one or two guys go from 20% to 90%. Your aces are not big against five players. Against one, he's probably calling with a pair or ace king or something like that. A pair of sixes, a pair of eights. And then you see how he handles then you come out betting the flop, and then you see how he handles it. And that's it. That's all you can do. Anyway, what else? We know play your streaks, play your back rack, craps, whatever you're playing, play your streaks. Football, play your bankroll. Again, two for the money. Strange movie how that guy goes to New York to be a handicapper and then can't handicap. What the fuck was that all about? We got lucky and he goes 12-0 and then he can't pick. He couldn't pick the win after that. What is that? You never see me do that. I'll do the 12-0s, but I never do a 2-11. I don't think I've ever done that in my life. There's enough. Look at baseball. I don't go 2-11. What did I do yesterday? 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1. Now 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 8-2, 8-3, 9-3 yesterday. I go 9-3 in base fucking ball. Today I got 2, 4, 6 baseball picks and a basketball. And I don't want to jinx myself, but I think I'll at worst go 3-3 in baseball. Hopefully I go 6-0. I'm trying to go 6-0, but there's all these players get hurt. The pitcher sucks, so you just try to go. And again, you're dealing in averages. So that's betting. It's stick to your money, stick to your bankroll, play your bankroll. You've got to understand how hard it is to pick and yet how good I am at football. So you've just got to take your profit, go buy your gold. That's where we're going to make the big money is in this. So you can make money in football, which is fine, and then go buy your gold and silver. I keep seeing how everybody's going to make a ton in silver. Like, yeah, okay. All right, let's check gold out one last time. Silver 31.31 and gold 23.76. So they keep buying the derivative. So the bottom is the derivative. They sold it at 23.70 and then they bought it at 23.55. They made $15 on the derivative. They then bought a new derivative at 23.55, sold it at 23.78. It got then they had a derivative sold at 23.78 to 23.70 and a new one bought at 23.70 that is now at 23.78. These are contracts that are derivatives, that are options that are being done. This has nothing to do with physical gold. So the quicker you understand that these are contracts that are bought and sold on derivatives and has nothing to do with physical. So if Russia were to buy 10,000 tons of gold, it wouldn't move the price. It's the contracts that move the price. So if they buy it with contract, so if Russia does, I want 10,000 tons, and they do contracts of 10,000 tons of real physical, and I want to get it and buy it, that would move the price up considerably. But that's the only way. So basically, think of it as the Super Bowl. The tickets are issued $300, $400, and they're issued. And then it hits secondary market. And now the Super Bowl costs you, $5,000 for 50-yard line, maybe $6,000 for 50. Suites, 10 grand that were 300, 400. And why? Because you can't, the tickets that are 300 are sold out. So some guy buys them all, then he goes and sells for $5,000 all these tickets. And there's demand because it's the Super Bowl. And that's what you have here. You have right now you're still at the 350 stage. And once all gold is sold out of the mines and sold out of COMEX and sold out of the ETF, and now you have to go to the buyer. You have to go to the central bank to buy it. Well, he ain't selling it to you at 2,300. He's selling it to you at 23,000. Just like the Super Bowl, you ain't getting the ticket for 340. You're going to pay $4,000 for it. Like Alex told us for the college championship in Houston, he went to go, but it was so expensive. That's because there's secondary markets. So once the gold and silver are gone from COMEX and the ETFs, we get to the secondary markets. Right now, JP Morgan's fucking around with these contracts, and there's still a little bit of gold and silver left. Once that's gone, that's it. And you're going to see the price do a Super Bowl type of price where it goes from 2,300 to 23,000. You want gold? 23,000, not a problem. I so look forward to that, and I don't have to sit there with the bullshit of getting hired for these jobs. I'll just retire and teach this. All right, everybody. I guess that's it. I'm tired, as you can see. I did an hour in the morning. Then I ran to the bank so I could give Jenna some money while she needs food. Then she loses power, but fortunately she's got it back on, so I think she's okay. And she keeps wondering about my job because the more money I make, the more money she gets. And I said, nah, we're gonna have to wait a few days. They're all of a sudden they're interviewing two more people. I don't like the way my recruiter did it. He says, I mean, this is what he wrote me. Tell me how you react to this. So he says, you are the only candidate who has interviewed with the CFO. That said, the hiring manager has two more candidates to interview. I am not sure how to read this. That doesn't give me a warm and fuzzy when he says that. So I don't know what to make of it. I can understand that the hiring manager has two more candidates to interview. Why? If you like me, then just hire me. But maybe they have to, for legal purposes, interview two or three guys. Again, not clear, and that's what we'll have to understand. I'm not sure how to read this. Doesn't help me. You're the recruiter. Is it positive or not? Now, the fact I am the only candidate who was interviewed with the CFO is a very positive. If they liked the other guys, they would have interviewed with the CFO. So from that standpoint, it's good. The fact he has two more candidates to interview, well, I didn't assume I was the only candidate. However, I thought, he was out of town for 3 weeks, so it's logical he had more candidates to interview. And my response was very strange. I thought we were all set. He didn't say that when we ended the interview. He seemed to like that my skill set was a good match. I did my best. The VP said to talk to him about the second job. Also, keep me informed. Thank you. So again, it's very strange that, and I don't know this recruiter, and he doesn't work for the company. He's an independent recruiter. He finds people like me. So what you have is, my question, being analytical, is why do you still need to interview these two people if you like me? Now, you still might like me after meeting those two, and maybe you have to interview three, or maybe since you're out of town for 3 weeks, you needed it. And then the fact I'm the only one that met with CFO. The others could have met with CFO last week when I did. So it seems very positive. Again, I think I did well on it, interviewed well, and that's all we can do. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. So hopefully we get it. Hopefully we know, by the end of next week. And then if I have time, I'll go to Europe and meet one of the gals. Daria, I'm waiting for. I think her daughter gets out of school, and I'm waiting to go to Serbia with her in July, but we're waiting on the mother to make reservations to fly to Russia. She is Russian, the mother. She lives in the U.S., so she got to get on a plane and fly to Russia. And how costly is it? And then when is she going to come? Hopefully in July. And then if I do get the job, I can say I had a vacation planned. I need to go. I could bring my computer and do some work there. Otherwise, I can start the week after, or I'll start a few weeks and then take the week off. If I don't hear anything from her, then I won't plan I won't say I have a vacation plan. However, if I don't get the job take the drug test and the blood test and the criminal check, you'll start in a couple of weeks, then I can go, okay, Jenna, let's meet next week. I can work the week. I know I'm going to get paid. So if I know I'm back to work and I'm going to get normal paychecks, then let's go on vacation, which is what she wants. My first priority is to meet Daria because I haven't met her yet. Not that it's one or the other, but if Daria says, okay, July, then I meet Daria in July. We will see. So that's my plans. I can't believe it's June already and she's done with school already. It's crazy. And that's it. So we will go from there. Anyway, so the job is stressing me a little bit. Well, not stress. I mean, I was the only guy. I met with the VP and the CFO. All I had to do was have a good interview with the hiring manager, which I did, and at least I believe I did. And I asked the guy, "Did we get any feedback uh, from the hiring manager?" He said, "No, we didn't get any feedback." In other words, if he liked me, then okay, I know I got the job, but I can't get that ironed out. So we will see. We'll see soon. Anyway, that's what's going on. So again, keep in mind COMEX until the bullion banks run out of gold and can't do this little game, we're going to keep selling high to buy low and then buying low to sell high. So they're going to keep doing it wherever it goes to, but it's the bricks. I assume them buying the gold forces the contracts to buy more gold to give to them. And I think that's how they do it. So somehow when you buy from COMEX, you're buying these contracts. And then you got to give it to them, which the demand now really zooms up. And then they can't do the derivatives because they're going to sell to buy low, but the price goes up because of the demand. So now they got to be careful when they sell because the price isn't going to go down for them to buy. So they can sell at 100 if you can buy at 50, but if the price goes from 100 to 200, how the hell are you going to buy at 200 when you sold at 100? Unless you're the Duke and Duke. You want to do Eddie Murphy. So you want to sell at 142 and buy at 24, the orange juice reports. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I am tired. I had lunch. I had barbecue yesterday, and whatever was left, I ate today. I still have my chicken breast to cook, but I think I'll make an omelet, and that's about it. So have a wonderful day, everybody. I will talk to you tomorrow. You got the picks once more. Basketball, take Dallas plus the 6.5. Baseball, Atlanta under 8.5. The Yankees, the Cubbies, St. Louis, Boston, Arizona 8.5. All the plays are 5 units. Basketball, we'll see. If I get Boston leading the series, we'll really jump on it. Dallas plus the points. I don't think Boston can win the series. After watching what Dallas did, I don't think Boston has a chance. Because you can't stop Luca Brasi, and you can't stop a guy, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. How are you going to beat him? So it's a matchup problem. All right, that's it. Hopefully, I get the job tomorrow or early next week. I gave him references yesterday, so now it's a matter of I think I got to do a drug test and a background check if I get the offer, and then I think I have to fill out an application, which is nothing. The background check's like, where did you live? And they ask where you lived, and then they do a criminal background check. So I don't know if the application, some of them ask for the address. Where have you lived the last couple of years? I'm all over the place. So I don't know what that means. Like, who cares? I'm on my 3rd year. I can't believe I've been back from Alabama this long. Anyway, that's about it. It's 5 o'clock. Have a good night and try to relax, enjoy. We got the weekend coming already. It's already Friday tomorrow, Mark McGuire. And now that we understand the game of COMEX, now Nick and Luke and Bobby shouldn't get this excited now. It's going down because they've done a put option, which is they sold it first, want the price to go down so they can buy it. So that's all it is. It has nothing to do with anybody selling gold or consolidating. And so when you hear these guys talk about consolidation, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's a put option. Somebody has Eddie Murphy. They have sold it, and they want the price to go down so they can buy it cheaper than they sold it for. Duh. All right. I think that's about it. All right. www.teaserking.com. I'm going to get my email when they ask me about the Comex or baseball or football or anything else, inflation, whatever you want. All right. I will talk to you soon, and I'll let you know about the job once I know about the job. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a nice night.